again and welcome to Force Talk, a Star Wars podcast. This is episode 1. The last one was episode 0. Some of you even said that in the comments. So, we're going to be talking about Star Wars Fan Fun Day / weekend that we were all at Sunday and Monday just gone. We got some interviews there as well. So there's some of that to be sharing with you. Also, we're going to be doing a section on Legends in Canon about Mara Jade. And Sarah's picked that bit out for us. And we're going to cover a little bit of Star Wars news. It's a bit light, obviously, after Celebration. Right, so we're going to talk about Star Wars Fan Fun Day. So, Mike, do you want to start off and tell us what some of your highlights of our weekend in Burnley was?
Yep, well, I was there on the Sunday and the Monday. It was a great weekend, lots of guests there. For me, I was really pleased to meet Taylor Gray for the first time, the young guy who does the voice of Ezra Bridger in Rebels. So it's nice to see him at a UK convention. I believe it was his first, so we got an interview with Taylor that we'll share with you. Great to see David Prowse again. You know, it's good that he's still coming to these conventions and meeting with everyone. And then there's a whole host of people played various X-Wing pilots and aliens from the different films. We met with Femi Taylor, who played Ula, the dancing girl in Return of the Jedi in Jabba's Palace. And Gerald Home, really nice guy, true gentleman, so we had a good chat with him. And he played Tessek, the Squidhead character, and also a Mon Calamari officer in Return of the Jedi. So it's great seeing all the guests there, and obviously all the cosplayers and all the kids having fun. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So, and of course, we were sat with Gerald and Femi Taylor at the Dinner with the Stars. Yeah. So, on the Sunday night after the first day of the convention, they have a Dinner with the Stars event to raise money for charity. And Blues Harvest, who I don't think we mentioned in the last episode, but was planning to. They're a great band who do sort of blues and soul tunes with a Star Wars twist, so songs that you know but with Star Wars lyrics, one being something like shake your green lightsaber instead of shake your moneymaker, stuff like that. But they did a great rendition of Derek and the Dominoes' Leia, but called it Leia as a tribute to Carrie Fisher. So that was a big highlight from the dinner. So Sarah, what about yourself? Because you were dressed very well, I thought, for the event.
Han Solo. Yeah. There are a few pictures on our page. I love the event. Met Ingvild Deila, who filled in for Carrie Fisher in Rogue One. You probably won't recognise her as her face were covering dots. Lovely girl. She did release a couple of little naughty tidbits, but you'll find that on the interview. Plenty of kids dressed up, plenty of cosplayers, which I love. And apart from that, just ace. Nick?
Yeah, was good.
I was stuck behind a camera for most of it, so I didn't.
The best side.
I didn't get the full experience like you guys did. You got for your full 2 days, and you did for Dinner with Stars. I only was there for like a little bit, but I loved what I got for £10. You can't really complain at like that level of festival. It's like really, really cool what you can get for £10. Like you got all the stalls, all the merchandise there. You've got all for people in cosplay. Of little like wampers and stuff like that. Really good photo opportunities. So I had a great time, even though I didn't get to interview anyone.
Well, we decided
really
we decided it would probably be a good idea to keep Nick as far away from the celebrities as possible.
From people.
From people.
I do have several criminal records.
Because you never know
where I've been.
But we'd like to say as well, congratulations to Neil and his team for putting on a fantastic show, and we're looking forward to it very much next year.
Up next, this is Legends to Canon, and we're talking about Mara Jade this week.
Is there still a chance that Mara Jade could be included in the cinematic universe? For those who have no idea who I'm talking about, Mara Jade, or better known as Luke Skywalker's wife. She was first introduced to us as second-in-command to Talon Card, an infamous smuggler in Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire. The book briefly touches on her past as an Emperor's Hand, a special agent of sorts for Emperor Palpatine, which is akin to an Inquisitor in the new canon. Basically, Force sensitives converted to the dark side, but not powerful enough to pose significant threat to either Vader or the Emperor. In The Heir to the Empire, she meets Luke Skywalker, whom she had been sworn to kill in honour of her former master, this being reinforced by a telepathic connection with him. Luke sought to help her break that binding order, regardless of the great threat she posed. Later on in the Thrawn trilogy, she turns again to the Empire, which also helps silence his command. The two continue to have various adventures together until eventually Luke proposes marriage in Michael A. Stackpole's union. Due to her affinity to the Force, Luke helped train her and make her a member of his new Jedi Council, and eventually a Jedi Master. From this, the two went on to have a child together, Ben Skywalker. In the Legacy of the Force series, she grows suspicious of her nephew Jason Solo, son of Han and Leia Solo. After him relaying several dubious missions, she learns that he has turned to the dark side and become a Sith apprentice. Vowing to kill him, he unfortunately gets to her first in Karen Travis's novel Sacrifice, later to return as a Force ghost to Luke and her son, and even in the Legacy comics, Cade Skywalker. Over the years, she has been chosen as Imagine Game Network's 19th top Star Wars character, and even their top 10th Star Wars hero. Also appearing in games such as Star Wars Masters of Teräkäsi, The Force Unleashed, and Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith, and she was even the first character from the extended universe to have her own Hasbro figure. With The Force Awakens ending on Luke being seemingly alone on Act 2, really doesn't leave me with much hope that he's married with a kid. Is it possible? Is she dead? Had she never existed? What do you guys think?
So go on, what do you think, guys? Nick?
Well, I've always liked the character of Mara Jade. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I know an awful lot about her, but I used to play for game Mysteries of the Sith, so I have a bit of an understanding. And I really want Cal Katarn to be into canon still, so if Mara Jade can help that, then great. But if not, I feel there's still that rumour of Rey being Luke's kid, so if that is the case, we need to discuss who's for mum, because nobody really wants to see another "it was a magic child made of midi-chlorians." That's been tried and tested. Everybody hated it, so let's not do that one again. Chosen One angles are just... well, to me anyway. I don't know about you guys.
So you're done with the Christ parables in Star Wars? That's it.
Yeah, I think it's just overdone in culture in general.
Fair enough. You've just been schooled.
The Matrix did it as well.
Yeah.
Not cool. Like the first film was great, but when it started getting into like, he's the chosen one, it's just like
dips in the middle.
I
Less said about the end of it.
He's definitely not gonna die then, and it just takes all the tension out. So
agreed. Bit like those droids that you can cut down like butter. Butter.
How about you, Michael?
Yeah, I read To the Empire when it first came out, which is like years ago. So
I would have been one.
It's in the 90s, folks.
In the 90s.
He's so old, look at him.
So I've got this vague memory of Mara Jade. The only thing with Mara Jade, I always thought she was a bit of everything. Wasn't she a smuggler?
Smuggler, entertainer, trader,
Jedi, Sith,
assassin,
Emperor's hand. So I kind of never quite got her. You know what I mean? I never quite knew what she was. So I think if they are ever going to bring her back in, they might just pick one part. I wouldn't be surprised if she pops up in, the Han Solo spin-off. She might come in as a smuggler and she might be called Mara Jade, possibly. Or she might come in, like say, she could be Luke's wife. But I think they'd need to, if it is going to be Mara Jade, that character, it's going to have to be a distinct role into it. It's going to have to be Luke's wife or something. Whereas I think they've already cherry-picked bits of the character already. There's little bits of Rey, a bit like Mara. I think even little bits of Jin in Rogue One. Maybe, there's a smuggler. Not a smuggler, but the
badass.
Yeah, well, like you said, because it is such a diverse character, like she's going to be a little bit of everything, isn't she?
Yeah.
So maybe they do need to like whittle it down to just her core.
Yeah. So I'm not convinced she'll come back into canon as she was in Legends, but I can imagine a character called Mara Jade might pop up. It makes sense if she's Luke's wife, but then it's a whole backstory that they're going to have to
Kylo could kill
do
her.
a Mara Jade cartoon or something to fill us in.
Did you say something about coming into like one of the anthology films? Do you think Emilia Clarke's character in the Han Solo film could be like Mara Jade, smuggler buddy of Han Solo,
yeah.
and she's keeping the Force stuff on the down low?
Yeah, because it's when she comes in as well. Because in Legends, it was the post Jedi era. So obviously, if they bring her in Han Solo, she's in the pre A New Hope era. But they've done that with Thrawn. They brought him in Rebels, whereas originally he was after post Jedi. So you don't know, they're gonna spring it on us at some point, I'd imagine. And didn't she have a purple lightsaber as well?
She did.
She did.
And flaming red hair.
Right. So Mace Windu wasn't
Mace
first.
No.
He was just well into his
Prince.
expanded universe and Prince.
I think that's what it was down to.
Maybe that's where she got it from. Maybe it was Mace's lightsaber.
Probably
Dun.
But yeah, I was thinking about this, and I mean, you could potentially build a standalone film around her. To give her the amount of stage that I imagine there's a lot of fans wants, because she's such a popular character. But obviously there's problems with that, because we're at a point now where obviously Hamill's reached the appropriate age for where we are in terms of the saga now. So if they were going to go back and do that, it's still possible, because I'm sure they could bring Hamill in, do his digital capture stuff and de-age him and all that kind of stuff, but do we want a full film of that? So maybe it's probably better to, I mean, I doubt very much whether we'll get a flashback of her in The Last Jedi, but I could be wrong about that. But could we get a Force ghost of her that Luke communes with?
So you think she's dead?
Yeah.
I think if Luke's got a wife, she's not there now, is she? Not in Force Awakens.
Never know, he might have buried her on the island.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Could be. We were saying he could have gone a bit weird. I mean, it is possible that he left everything behind, including his wife, because and maybe he realised after everything went to pot that it wasn't the Jedi path and he had to be on his own.
She might have been in the burning temple in the trailer.
Yeah, she could have been in there. You never know. So, I mean, the possibilities are there. I think they could do a standalone if they wanted, and it wouldn't have to be animated. But
I think one of the
maybe
issues,
flashbacks is the best way to go.
I think one of the issues with having a standalone, though, is that character going to be a big enough draw to the general populace? Like, so far we've seen him not really take any major risks with standalones. It's all well-known characters and well-known story threads. So to go into something that, like, a lot of Star Wars fans do know it, but even still, like, you've got the whole Star Wars community, and then you've got the people who've read the expanded universe. So that's like a small bit of a much larger community, which is still a cult following overall. So
First step
is that going to
world, yeah.
Like, maybe she'd work better as like a character in more stories, but shame that they've getting rid of Rebels on this season, because maybe she'd be good in that.
What about you, Sarah? What do you think?
I think she is dead, but I like a bit of a flashback to her.
Yeah.
I'd like to see her brought back in some way. Yeah.
But you do sound pretty gutted about the fact that she
I'm
was
upset.
dead.
She's not actually dead. Like we
No,
we're just
you
talking
guys have
about.
condemned her.
She doesn't have to be dead, Kathleen Kennedy. If you're watching,
Yeah.
Please don't kill her.
please, like bring her in. I wouldn't mind seeing her.
In what way would you like to see her introduced into the Skywalker saga, for example? If she was going to be included in the next film, what would you?
I
How
think
would you
the
like
only
to
way
do
to introduce her would be that she's dead. He's on the island because he's buried her there. Kylo's murdered her. And the way to... Sorry. When Rey's Force sensitivity awakened, he got the sign, so he went to the island, and the best place to meet her would be above her mother's grave.
Right.
Dark.
That's pretty dark, yeah.
I think if she turns up in a Han Solo, it'd be a good way to bring her in.
Yeah,
That's the
I think
smuggler
as a
side.
smuggler, maybe on that side.
possibly.
Very good.
Maybe get captured by the Empire. Who knows?
Yeah.
Let us know what you think.
We just auditioning to like be script writers for the films.
I'll play Mara.
If you like any of these ideas that we're tossing out, just get in touch. We're easy to find.
Okay, this section's called Chosen Ones, and what we're going to do is pick one of the main characters from either the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, or one of the spin-off films. I'm going to pose a few questions to the panel and to you guys at home as well. So, for the very first Chosen Ones, we are dealing with Mr. FN2187 himself. Yes, Finn, as we all know him. You all know Finn, you've seen him in Force Awakens. Give you a brief background. He was taken from his family by the evil First Order when he was a little boy, and he was brought up and trained by Captain Phasma, along with a load of other stormtroopers, obviously, including FN2199, known as Nines, and FN2003, who had the nickname Slips, I do believe. And,
Did he wear slippers?
He did, just like Grand Moff Tarkin. And basically, from a bit of backstory of Finn, when they used to go on training missions, Slips would get into a bit of bother, he'd fall behind, things would happen to him. And Finn would always go back and rescue Slips, and Captain Phasma used to take Finn to one side and say, "You're one of the best troopers we've got, but we're only as good as the weakest link in the team, and you need to stop going back and rescuing Slips." So eventually they were sent on the mission to Jakku to try and retrieve the memory stick from Lor Santeca, and Slips was the stormtrooper who got shot. And that's when Finn ran over, and Slips rubs his hand over the helmet and he gets the blood on the helmet. So Finn was devastated that he'd lost his friend that he'd rescued on so many other occasions, which is what affected him deeply enough to defect from the First Order. And then, of course, we all know the story from there. He met Poe, he got the name Finn, and when he ended up at Maz Kanata's castle, it was Nines, was the stormtrooper with the baton, who attacked Finn and called him a traitor, because obviously they'd trained together all those years. So I've got 4 questions for the panel and for you guys. Right, the first one. At the end of Force Awakens, Finn was brutally injured by Kylo Ren with his lightsaber. He was sliced up the back, and we've had a little hint of, looks like he's lying in a med pod or something like that in the trailer for The Last Jedi. So what I want to know is, what do you think, how they'll deal with Finn's injuries in The Last Jedi? Is he just going to miraculously recover and be back to his old self, or are they going to give him some cybernetics, or is he going to have bionic powers? Paddy?
I think that'd be really cool. I mean, we've seen stuff like, obviously Luke Skywalker getting the new hand, and the same with Anakin, but we've never had it where that's been a real kind of like a feature or like a skill. It was just like a functional thing to replace something that's gone. So if that by some reason gives Finn like some kind of new powers or new skills, I think that'd be really cool. What may be even cooler is if that kind of messes with him a bit as well.
Yeah.
Makes him a bit like darker. I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah?
I'd like to see some more cybernetics,
Yeah.
especially when it's legs, and whether there's other things as well.
Wow.
Everyone was thinking it.
Quickly to
Really?
I'm in shock. What was the question again?
which of Finn's body parts are going to
If you're listening, John Boyega, she's a fan. Anyway, go on.
Sorry, where were we?
how do you think they're going to deal with Finn's injuries in The Last Jedi?
Well, I've got an angle on this.
Go
Oh.
on.
I think. Do you know for characters that R2D2 and C3PO are based on? In, I forget the Japanese film. I think it's Seven Samurai.
Seven Samurai, yeah.
Yeah.
Kurosawa.
The 2 characters they're based on, which are like for sort of coward characters, and I think because obviously Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker's dead, obviously, because they're aging rapidly and they're not going to have the same sort of focus in these new films. I believe Finn is going to become that cowardly sort of character who's always struggling with his sort of inner strength, and like if he's going to overcome his fear to be the hero that the Resistance will need. So I think we're going to see a continued plot thread along those lines.
Yeah, interesting. So there's quite a few ways they can go with it.
Oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Right. Well, next question. Do you think we'll see a showdown between Finn and Captain Phasma in The Last Jedi? Nick?
I Yeah, I mean,
I hope so.
Phasma's been thrown in a trash compactor.
Lame.
She's going to be pretty pissed, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And
well, we know she's in 8, don't we? So she's going to be hunting down Finn.
yeah, she's going to be angry. And apparently her role is much bigger as well.
Right.
So that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Good. Paddy?
It would be nice because I did enjoy it as a little gag of, you got a trash compactor. Yeah, we do. I thought that was quite good, but it was kind of, it just felt a little bit like, and that's her just dealt with now.
Yeah.
So to see her, and particularly in the way that Gwendolyn Christie talked about her ahead of the film, the strength of the character and all this stuff, then when that kind of happened there, I was like, I was kind of expecting a bit more from such a strong character. So it would be good to see her get an arc where she actually is kicking some ass. So if that involves a showdown with Finn, then I'm all for it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sarah?
I'm up for it. With his Imperial training, he might actually be able to kick some ass because we didn't really see much of it in The Force Awakens.
Good.
Do you think the cybernetics are going to further make that ass kicking possible, or do you think it's going to be a hindrance like Saw Gerrera? Do you think he's going to be augmented or knackered up a bit?
Augmented, because it didn't affect his torso at all, did it?
I don't know, it's like a pretty horrific spine injury.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it'd just be good if he's a bit more bionic, because all the other sort of cybernetic repairs like Saw Gerrera, they're just so lumbering, aren't they?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he's like more like a superhero kind of character, because we've not had that before. Right, next question. Are we going to see a relationship between Finn and another character? And my money
Don't say Bob.
is on Rose, the new Kelly Marie Tran character. I believe they go off on a little adventure anyway. But Sarah, start with you.
I like for it to be Rose because Paul's mine.
Just to be clear.
Yes. No, from Story Celebration, it looked like it was a sure thing. Him and Rose being together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Next.
Mechanic.
So, I think you're probably right about that. Well, you could be right about that because there did seem to be a good rapport between the actors in general, as if they kind of worked together a lot. So that would
Chemistry.
Yeah, chemistry is what I'm looking for. Yeah. So that would carry some weight.
I think Kathleen Kennedy has promised us an openly gay character in Star Wars, and I don't think it's going to be Finn because he seems like way too much of a horny teenager. Like he was asking Rey if she had a girlfriend in Force Awakens.
Boyfriend.
Well, he says her.
Boyfriend,
He
sorry.
says her.
Yeah.
Have you got a cute boyfriend? Then
He got
maybe
a
he's
cute
interested.
boyfriend, he says.
Yeah, cute
So you never
boyfriend.
know.
So yeah, it could be, but I imagine he wasn't getting much action when he was in the first Order. So I think he's just any hole's a goal at the moment.
Well, stormtroopers will miss everything.
The thing is, if there's going to be a romantic...
We call them thermal exhaust ports in the Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah, any thermal exhaust port is a goal.
But if there's going to be a romantic relationship with Finn, I wonder if that rules out Rey having a romance at some point as well, because they're probably not going to do two romantic stories at the same time.
If she's a great Jedi, she could.
Yeah.
Theoretically. I think it's more likely between her and Finn than anybody else, because they've already pre-established that sort of connection, even though at the end of Force Awakens it seemed like Rey totally friend-zoned Finn.
Yeah.
I mean, the other point is, I mean, if you may remember, or I don't know if you have seen it, but, and I could be, I'm like dreaming this or whatever, but I distinctly seem to remember Carrie Fisher putting a tweet out, a picture of Finn and Poe together, and just simply writing "gay." So you know, maybe Carrie knew what was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out.
Well, she was a script doctor on Last Jedi as well, so maybe she made it happen.
Yeah, there you go. So look out for it. Carrie will always loom large in the legend.
Well, guys, that's the Chosen Ones section. So if you want to send in suggestions for who you'd like to see us discuss on the next segment of Chosen Ones, you know where to put the comments in at SW Force Talk.
And now it's time for Star Wars news. But just before we do that, to let you know, no, Nick hasn't vanished, but he has gone to a concert. So we're going to do the remainder of the show without him. He's gone to watch Bruno Mars. So make your own comments about that. Okay, so as we were saying earlier on, at the top of the show, Star Wars news obviously a bit thin after Celebration, but via MovieWeb just now we have found some breaking news. So, Star Wars 8 opens... No, before we even start saying anything...
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert! We don't want to spoil things for you if you don't want to know stuff. This is what's going to be very difficult for me doing this show because I tend to avoid all these things. So I really don't want to know too much, but we are going to discuss this. All right. So Star Wars 8 opens with an unexpected face-off between two iconic characters. So now, what they're saying here is that it was actually from Nerdist.com had reported that Snoke and Leia are going to come face to face in The Last Jedi. General Leia and Supreme Leader Snoke headed for a face-off at the beginning of Star Wars The Last Jedi. General Leia gets captured and brought before Snoke, and they have a shouting match. So, there you go. What do we think about this?
Interesting. Sounds really good.
Yeah, I was hoping that Leia would get a bit more meat.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, she's no, she's not a Jedi, but she's got the Force just like Luke. She's the daughter of Anakin Skywalker, so let's see her use some Force powers. I mean, she's not going to be any match for Snoke, as far as we know, but I mean, if she gets to... She's not going to use a lightsaber, doubt, but if she can do some Jedi stuff, that'd be really good.
Yeah.
So Carrie Fisher doing that.
I mean, I wonder about that, whether there's a conscious decision by Leia to not follow that path. Like, she feels that she needs to follow the path of what she's always done her life.
Yeah.
So, what she's done all her life. So she kind of, not switches it off, but like chooses not to expand on the skills, but then she still can feel things.
Yeah. Because I think she's sort of more like a sensing Jedi.
She's attuned to the Force. Like, she can talk to Luke telepathically.
Yeah. Because I need to read Bloodline, one thing I've not read. I'm actually reading that in the next couple of weeks. That's probably going to reveal more about her sort of Force abilities and her skills. But if she's coming face to face with Snoke, she's not going to go in there defenceless, you wouldn't think, or just for chat. So
I'd like to know how she got captured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because last we saw her, she was on that base, and it'll be quite hard to get her out of there.
Yeah.
Alive.
Yeah, it'd be good to see her as part of the action, and like you say, just not just in a control room or whatever.
And they're saying that's going to be the opening scene, because I thought the opening scene was going to be Luke and Rey with the lightsaber. So unless they mean maybe it happens after that, I don't know.
Maybe. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Interesting news. Good.
So that was pretty cool. Moving on to... They've, via the Star Wars Battlefront 2 game, they gave us a look at Kylo Ren's new look in the film, and also to Rey's new look. Now, Kylo Ren's doesn't seem to have changed a massive great deal, doesn't it? But there has been a little bit of controversy about this scar.
Yeah, the moving scar.
This moving scar issue.
Sky.
So basically, you got the scar at the end of Force Awakens, and it's like across here. And Rian Johnson made the decision that it was kind of just didn't look great on camera, so they've kind of moved it over here. So,
which I wish they hadn't done. Really, I can understand his artistic reasons for doing it, but I mean, at the end of Force Awakens, he's got a massive scar down the bridge of his nose, and then a couple of days later, it's on the other side of his eye. It just seems a bit.
Another example of classic Star Wars continuity.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it looks pretty cool. Now, in terms of Rey, we kind of seen a bit of this on the one of the action figure releases, wasn't it? The new toy line. Yeah. But we've got a full view of it here. She's got the leather armbands, and the sleeves are kind of like the Jedi wrapping, but it kind of looks a lot sleeker than like the old school Jedi. I mean, we don't know whether she's going to get a robe or not, or whether this is part of the whole Bendu image, because it does kind of lend itself a little bit to that Japanese
got a
feel.
vibe, hasn't it, as well?
Yeah, but it does have that much more of a kind of samurai look to it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think she looks like a mirror image of Qui-Gon in a way, with the hair, especially.
Yeah.
Maybe just a modern look on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've got to move it on a little bit. And
It looks a bit more action friendly, really, as a robe. You know, it's not the long sort of old
Pajamas.
Obi-Wan robes.
Yeah.
And it just looks a bit freer. It's just basically a bit of a tunic and a big belt. So I think they've got a poise for some action, but looking slightly Jedi-ish.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. So, kind of jumping back to Celebration, because this is one thing that we didn't really pick up on. I mean, obviously there was loads of news, but I know there was kind of quite a large subset of disappointment with regards to a lack of certain things being unveiled. One of the main ones, of course, being that everyone was expecting that we would get the 4K versions of maybe the trilogy, but my own personal thing was like, well, it's the 40th anniversary of A New Hope. Obviously, well, not obviously, but 20th Century Fox still own distribution rights to A New Hope. So it would make sense that they'd want to cash in one more time on it. So I thought, well, are we going to get a cinema release of A New Hope in 4K, or are we going to get, you know, the new 4K DVD or whatever version? And of course, all the fans are like hoping that we will get the unaltered versions. Somebody asked Kathleen Kennedy directly about this and said, are we going to get the unfettered versions or whatever? And she said, that's George's thing and I'm not going to go anywhere near it. So, I mean, are you disappointed that we're not going to get the uncut versions?
I'd love to see it in cinema like my dad did when he was younger.
Yeah.
It'd be quite an experience.
Yeah, I don't mind, to be honest. I think one of the few fans that I don't mind the special editions. I'm not overly bothered if I don't see the original versions again. I've actually got them on VHS at home anyway, and I've still got my old VHS player upstairs, so I might kind of dig them out one day and you can come round.
The ISD Executor box set.
But there were a lot of things, I think, because I'm from the original trilogy generation, so I did see the original Star Wars when I was, I don't know, about 5 or 6, so I was lucky enough to see that. But I do remember when the special editions came out, it's not just the CGI that they added in, they cleaned it up so much, and they improved the sound and the editing in parts. And I do think people forget, if you do see the original versions, great as they are, because they are the classic ones, obviously, I'm not taking anything away from that, but there was a reason George did a lot of the changes to the films, because they fell short of his vision. So I know everyone wants to see them. It'd be great to be able to, just put the DVD in and watch them, but I don't mind.
I think
to be honest with you.
The problem is, I'd like to see them. Yes, I'm a bit of a purist like that. I don't have too much of a problem with the special editions. The problem is, for me, is that the special editions they put on Blu-ray, the colorization of the films was awful. It wasn't good at all, and to the point where we've moved now with the special effects. In some ways, even if you compare them to the prequels a little bit, the elements that have been added do look dated, and I know there has been updates, certainly to Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, to the Jabba the Hutt scene in A New Hope.
They made changes in the Blu-ray releases again, didn't they? Just like the blinking Ewok eyes.
Yeah, they've done all that. But I feel that if they're going to bring them out in 4K, they need to do a complete overhaul of the added special effects that they put in 97 and update that so it looks
special edition,
so it looks better than it is. Or they need to, what I'd like to see would be the option of both. So you've got the totally unfettered versions and you've got an updated special edition.
I think one of the problems as well that I read was that when they created the special editions, the original masters of the original theatrical release weren't, I don't know if they're either not altered or they weren't kept. So there's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no actual master that they could use to create a 4K version. Anyway, they could only release it in its original grainy.
No, because they had all the original elements, so they recomposited them digitally.
Right.
So there's no reason why they should not be able to do that again. The other problem is, and why I'm mentioning about this 4K thing in the first place, is that a 4K version, we don't know which version, of A New Hope does exist, because not J.J. Abrams, Gareth Edwards confirmed that he'd been shown a 4K version of A New Hope in the preparation for Rogue One.
Yeah.
So why we're not going to see it, I don't know. But fingers crossed. Let us know what you think. Okay, now back to Star Wars Fan Fun Day, and we're going to dip into some of the interviews that we conducted at the event. So first of all, check out my chat with Dave Prowse. Okay, welcome to Force Talk. I'm sat here with the legendary Dave Prowse, aka Darth Vader. Now, before we start talking about Star Wars, which of course that's what everyone wants to talk about, you started off in bodybuilding.
Well, yes, I got very interested in bodybuilding right from when I was a very, very early teenager, and then that developed. It went from sort of just straightforward bodybuilding, and a very, very sort of low standard, to a higher standard, and then of course it went there to competitive weightlifting, which is quite a big major sport, and then of course from being just sort of competing locally, we became entering in championships all over the place, European Championship, World Championships, and so on.
So and that of course led on to Mr. Universe then.
Well, I got invited to enter the Mr. Universe.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very nice to be a. I think I was actually I did the Mr. Universe contest before I became the British heavyweight weightlifting champion. And that was because, as I said, I went so far as far as the bodybuilding was concerned.
Yeah.
And then I think I got to the stage where, they were coming up to me and saying, you've got a great physique, but you've got horrible feet.
Right.
You've got hammer toes and things like this. I said, but I can't train with toes.
Yeah. Can't do anything about that.
Can't do these sort of things, So I said, knock that on the head, not the competitive bodybuilding on the head.
Yeah.
And go on to competitive weightlifting, and then they became the British heavyweight weightlifting champion. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And they held all sorts of British records, and I held the British records on the deadlift, and picked up 678 and 3/4 pounds, which was a British record at the time. And then suddenly became
last call for photo shoots.
The British champion and Empire Games champion. And things like this. It was nice.
So that, of course, you started out with the Hammer horror films. Then, in terms of the acting, was that the first thing you did?
It was one of the very beginning. I did some horror films for Hammer.
Yeah, Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. Monster from Hell, Frankenstein's Monster from Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then of course you did a bit of work training other people. You worked with Christopher Reeve on.
That's right.
On Superman.
Christopher Reeve on Superman. That's right. Yeah.
And then the legendary Stanley Kubrick came knocking on your door, didn't he?
Yes, yeah. And Stanley lives up fairly close to Elstree Studios.
Yeah.
And I used to go to Elstree Studios when I was. Lots of the work I was getting was within the Elstree Studios.
Yeah.
Whether it was something small or whether it was something major, it was still at Elstree Studios.
Yeah.
And it was quite regular for me to see Stanley Kubrick there.
Oh, right.
And then of course what happened was I got very, very pally with Stanley Kubrick's secretary, a very, very nice little lady, And,
which always helps.
Yeah, which helps. Yeah. And next thing I know, I'm being invited to Stanley Kubrick's house.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
not that Stanley was ever there.
So it must have been a great experience working on a Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I like that one. That was a good movie.
And that's.
But they're all way back. It's
a
long time ago.
Long time ago.
I can't remember much about it, to be honest.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Far away, yeah.
So, and it was from Clockwork Orange that George Lucas noticed you.
Yeah, that's right.
And brought you in to audition for Star Wars, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I believe he was looking at you for a different role to Darth Vader initially. Is that right? I think didn't he show you this big hairy costume first?
No.
And you said
that was Peter Mayhew.
yes.
Peter Mayhew came in and did that.
Yeah.
That was the Wookiee, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
No, I was never considered for the Wookiee.
Oh right, okay. I thought I'd heard somewhere that he'd show you that first. Well, he'd show you the two characters.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm not really interested in the being stuck in a hairy costume for such a long time. I'll go with the villain.
Yeah.
So, and of course you did that across the three films.
That's right. Yeah.
What was your favourite of the trilogy to work on?
Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi.
Yeah.
Well, I liked all three of them actually, but probably Empire. I think Empire Strikes Back was my favourite of the three.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And now you get to meet all these great people at conventions.
Traveling around the world, it's amazing, isn't it?
Travel around the world doing it.
Yeah, I know. It's phenomenal.
Before we get out of here, I have to mention a personal note from me, is that I probably should have met you years ago, but back in I think it was around 1986 or 87, my dad was singing on doing entertainment on the QE2, and you were on the boat.
Yeah.
And he met you all those years ago, and he came back home with your autograph for me, and the 45-inch vinyls of the Green Cross Code song, also signed by you.
Yeah.
And I've still got those to this day. And that, of course, you saved a lot of lives doing that job.
Listen
and think.
He's the Green Cross Code man. He wants you to be safe, and you can if you stop, look, listen and think. That's what I used to say. If you stop, look, listen and stink.
Well, I've got on a serious note, because you saved quite a lot of lives doing that job, didn't you?
I know. But I used to have fun with that last word.
Yeah,
lots of times, Yeah.
Brilliant. Dave Prowse, thank you very much indeed.
Lovely, my pleasure.
Nice one.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that was really good fun, that, wasn't it? I mean, I really didn't expect at the top of that interview that by the end of it I would be singing the Green Cross Code song with Dave Prowse, so that was fantastic for me. So next up, we're going to go on to Sarah's interview with Ingvild Deila, the new Princess Leia, basically, in Rogue One. Check this out.
So I'll start off. How do you get involved in the industry?
Oh, well, it was just a complete serendipitous event. I wasn't planning on being an actor.
No?
I did it for fun when I was a teenager, a bit of theatre, but I never considered it as a career. So I studied philosophy and history and media, and then one day at a pub, a friend asked me if I wanted to be in his film. And I said, that sounds interesting, I'll just give it a go. And just thought of doing that one film, but then I realised I really liked it. So one thing sort of led to another, and then after a while I decided to just try it full time.
What was it like standing in front of Carrie Fisher?
A lot of mixed feelings, because I really admire and respect her, and I love Star Wars. So it was just a huge honour, but also, you can never replace her. So I was really nervous about how people would feel, when the film came out, how they would react to see her, on screen again. Yeah. And also then, with her sad passing so quickly after, it got even messier, and I didn't know what to, it was a bit difficult, but it seems like most fans are happy with how that it was respectful, that was sort of continuing and honouring her legacy, and
I definitely am.
That's great. I'm very glad to hear that. And then when I found out later that she'd seen the scene and she was happy about it, that was a huge burden off my shoulders. So yeah.
Was there any additional dialogue filmed at all?
No, nothing that was filmed. Yeah.
Nothing that was filmed, but there was something recorded.
No.
Nothing what you can tell me.
Nothing this is getting into murky waters here, but I can't. That's all I can say.
Do you still see yourself continuing the role?
I mean, yes. If they were to ask me, I couldn't possibly turn it down. But it would be the scariest thing I'd ever do as an actor, I think, because it's Princess Leia. I mean, you can never ever replace her. But if they could find a way of making it like, respectful and yeah, then I'll be up for it.
Any more roles coming up?
Yeah, I'm working on 2 feature films later this year and next year where I'll play the lead role. One is an apocalyptic drama thriller set in Norway but by a British director, and the other one is by a Brazilian director but set in the Netherlands. So it's a bit all over the place, but it should be fun.
I'll look forward to it then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoyed that, Sarah. Well done. Was that technically your first interview of somebody?
It was.
So well done. Yeah, excellent. And that just about wraps it up for Force Talk. Before we get out of here, we just to let you know that, well, we were down to 3 for the remainder of the show, but next time, which will be in 2 weeks, and I must make a note here as well that at the top of our very first episode, I said it's going to be bi-weekly. Don't listen to anything I say. It's fortnightly. Michael.
I'm away for the next show. I'm away on holiday, so it's not really unfortunately I'm away, but I will be missing it. I'll miss you guys. I'll miss doing this, so I'll see you in 4 weeks.
Indeed, and you'll be sending us many sickening pictures, I'm sure, of you lazing in the sunshine.
I'll try.
With a cocktail.
I'll try.
No, we don't. We don't need the budgie smugglers.
You won't be getting those.
So, also, if you want to make any suggestions for who to cover on Chosen Ones or even on our Canon segments, feel free to drop us a line on Twitter at SWForceTalk or on Facebook in the same way. So, until next time, may the Force be with you.
See ya.
See you then.
Thank you.